Good morning. It's Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. Pastor Ron Jetter, Immanuel Lutheran Church, Grandview, Washington. We've been looking the last week and a half at Martin Luther's treatise on Christian liberty. What does it mean when Luther says we are citizens of two kingdoms, the kingdom of heaven, which is eternal, the kingdom of earth, which is temporal? The kingdom of heaven, in which our souls, perfected by Christ's sacrifice on the cross, are eternal, perfect, filled with every good virtue, but they are dwelling in an earthly body which is full of hungers, lusts, opinions, stubbornness, wrong-headedness, in which we struggle forward with feet of clay. We are two people, saint and sinner. And Luther has said, as I've referred before, the first use of the law, that is to say, whether you're talking of the Ten Commandments or the 613 expanded version in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, the purpose of those commandments is not to make us holy. In fact, we can't be made holy. Only Christ can make us holy. We cannot make ourselves holy by any means whatsoever. The first purpose of the law then is to show us that we can't make ourselves perfect. The purpose of the law is to show that we are guilty before the law, that we cannot possibly work our way to God. There is no ladder that we are climbing toward holiness. Holiness, sanctification, this process of gradually becoming more Christ-like, is a myth. So only Christ can fulfill the law for us, and he did on the cross. Therefore, we are free. We have complete liberty as Christians with respect to the law of God. We look at the Ten Commandments, and I happen to have pulled them up here today so that I can refer to them. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall have no other gods. That's the introductory statement there. I'm your God. You don't have any other gods. Well, when people have other idols, or even they make money or power or anything in their life becomes their God, that's right there an indication that, okay, they are far from perfect. You will not bow down to these. You will not serve these because I'm a jealous God. So you won't make use of the name of God carelessly. And I have said before that probably the most careless use of the name of God is not people using profanity. It's people saying, as God is my witness. That's probably the worst kind of swearing you can do. Jesus says, don't use God's name. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. But don't say things like, as I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, and it's God's own truth. Leave God out of it. It's your truth. You're a flawed, sinful human being. It's your truth, and your truth is as flawed as you are, as I am. My truth is broken, is fragmented. It's my version of truth. Only God knows what truth is. And the truth of God is, I am condemned by virtue of the law. I am sinful. Remember the Sabbath day. Oh, and sure, I've kept every holy Sunday. I've given my thoughts, my body, my mind, my good works to God at least one day a week. Yeah, right. And you too, huh? Yeah, good for you. Bless your father, honor your father and mother. And, well, if I wanted to honor my father and mother, I would have moved back to Idaho and cared for them when they were in their 80s and been there for them when they died. And I was not. That's not honoring them. Like calling them up on the phone and going and visit them 3-4 times a year, that was the best I could do, because I had to juggle my life between being a working person, a husband and a father, and I couldn't just choose where I could find work. And it happened to be, I came to Sunnyside, Washington, because there was a church here that called me to be their pastor. Well, but that's not honoring my father and mother. I did it imperfectly to the best that I could while wrestling with things. But if it's a pass-fail, I failed. And God looks at commandments as pass-fail. He doesn't grade us and say, yeah, I'll give you a C+. You know, you did pretty good. You shall not murder. Well, I haven't actually killed anybody, have I? Have I been supportive of life of my own and the life of others in every possible way? I don't know. I mean, if I can make it about killing, I'd say, you shall not commit adultery. Jesus says, if you lust, okay, well, never mind. Moving on. You shall not steal. Well, we're gonna talk about stealing more in the days to come, because did I benefit from society stealing from an entire generation of people? I did. If you haven't seen the History Channel's special on how 1.2 million Black American veterans were denied GI benefits after World War II, I benefited because my dad was a vet, went to college, got a VA loan, all of the things, unemployment insurance, all of the things that were denied to 1.2 million Black Americans. I have generational wealth passed on to me as a result. There's a generation of Black Americans who lost out on that. And are they right in there? Well, I walked a different path than they did. So my imperfect truth does not have the right to judge their imperfect truth. And we'll talk more about that in the next couple of days, because that's an important subject for us, and it's very timely right now. But I didn't personally set out to steal. I have benefited, though, from a systemic decision by a government which did, in fact, seem to have stolen from a lot of people. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Well, I don't know. Which neighbor? Can I choose which neighbor? You shall not covet. Oh my goodness, are you kidding? If we didn't covet, our entire economy would collapse. Right now we have some 48 million unemployed people because we're partly quarantined in our homes, and a lot of businesses are locked up, or you can only go to takeout and things like that. We haven't done a lot of shopping for in-home projects, so there's a lot of stuff. And because my coveting hasn't disappeared, I would like to do all sorts of things. I did replace my stairs, but there's other projects I'd love to do. I'd love to just run off to Grandview Lumber and buy a bunch of stuff. I can always buy a new power tool. Coveting, it's good for the economy. And okay, again, if it's pass-fail, I failed God's law. How many of these, by the way, how many of the 10 Commandments can we violate, trample, step on, and not commit civil penalties? Well, let's see, murder, theft, as long as it's, there's ways of structuring theft. There's ways of stealing. Insider trading is theft. Someone might go to jail for shoplifting or something, and someone who gets away with insider trading may do far more damage. Just not quite as simple as we would like to make it. So Luther says, don't fool yourself. Look at those 10 commandments and give yourself a fail, 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 all the way down the list, because God did. And God said the remedy is not you trying harder. The remedy is not you learning more. The remedy is Jesus Christ going to the cross to die for the sins of mine, past, present, and future, as we say in the confession. What I have done, what I have left undone, the sins I've committed, the sins that I've done by not acting. So sins of omission and sins of commission. Yes, we can sin by failing to act. That's what we say in that confession. That's what those words mean. We fail to take care of our neighbor. We fail to advocate for our neighbor who is the victim of injustice or hunger or disease. That failure is sin, because I place my comfort, my prosperity above my neighbor's needs. Wow, the law doesn't really treat us very kindly. But we're free from the law. We have perfect liberty. Can we just throw the law out and throw out the 10 Commandments? Yes and no, because Luther, again, as I started with, we are a free person and we are slave to everyone else. Therefore, What would Jesus have me do? He says, follow the commandments. Oh, by the way, you can't. I died for you. Now, follow the commandments because we are free to at least try. So the second purpose of the law is to be a guide for us, to help us, to remind us, so that that inner person, which is perfect and full of every virtue, can manifest itself occasionally through good works of the temporal, physical, mortal person walking around in human flesh. More tomorrow. I'm off to choir practice. You can hear us on Sunday during the hymns.